Hi, I'm Jeremy Crosby.
And I'm Nick Boucher. We're your hosts for the program that's all about your city, Talking Fitchburg.
Every weekday, we pull together the news, events, and information you need to stay on top of what's happening in the city of Fitchburg.
Find Talking Fitchburg on cable TV, Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, and our live stream on the web. Plus, you can find all our headlines and stories on Facebook, YouTube, and our video on demand service. This is your city.
Keep up with Talking Fitchburg and the issues affecting you and your neighbors.
Get connected, Fitchburg. Sign up for Fitchburg Connect, the city's monthly e-newsletter that keeps you informed about all the events, services, and updates that matter to you. Get it in your inbox once a month. Sign up today to get Fitchburg Connect.
I call to order this meeting of the Finance Committee, April 28th, 2026 at 5:32 p.m. The first item on the agenda is the approval of minutes from April 14th, 2026.
I'll move approval.
All right, any comments or questions? All in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries. Next item is public appearances for non-agenda items. We have no one in chambers and no one on Zoom, so we will move on to item 4, the Finance Director report.
Thank you. So I'd like to do the couple of things that are in the packet first. So first was last meeting when we were talking about the ordinance changes with all of the purchasing kind of changes that we were doing. We wanted to have a little bit more of a discussion about if there's other reports the Finance Committee would like to see at these meetings. So put it on the agenda just so we can have a conversation. Ultimately, the Finance Committee can direct me to include whatever you would like. Obviously, we'd like to keep some sort of a cost-benefit consideration there. We don't want something that's going to take staff too much time, but definitely still care a lot about transparency and wanting to make sure that you have all the information that you need. So the couple of things that we talked about in other meetings, one could be we bring back that 10,000 and above report, or maybe it's a different dollar amount and above if you wanted to see those larger checks that went out the door. Another option is any pre-approval that is currently open. So what the status is of the pre-approval, what payments have been applied through whatever date, and what the open amount is. That's a report we could run relatively easily. It would be every pre-approval that we do. It wouldn't pick up anything that doesn't require a pre-approval, but that could be an option. And then another option could be any new pre-approval that was issued during a specific period of time. The flaw with that one is that it would be only new pre-approval. So if we did a change order to another one, I don't know for sure that the system would pick that up very easily. So there'd be a bit of a flaw there. And then timing wise, I'd want to talk to you about, do you want this at every meeting? Do you want it a monthly report that you get the first meeting the following month? That type of thing. So those were some ideas that we kind of kicked around as a staff, and ultimately we'll do whatever the committee would like to see.
Yeah, I kind of like the sound of the current state of the pre-approvals. Mm-hmm. It's reminiscent of the treasurer's report. You know, you've got your budget and your year-to-date amount is essentially what we're talking about, right?
So no, I guess it's similar in that it'd be how much the pre-approval was in total by line. So how much was authorized, what was spent, and then what the open amount or unspent amount is.
Yeah, progress toward budget is kind of what I was getting at.
Not budget though. I guess that's where I'm getting hung up. Yep. But progress towards completion of the encumbered amount, yes.
Right.
So that's an option. The other piece, if I can, just for this conversation, there is still a balance there too. The more information that we put out on the website, the easier it is for AI and fraudsters to try to glean information and try to convince us to cut checks where we're not supposed to. So it shouldn't dissuade us from putting information available, but just another kind of caveat. So like I wouldn't want to include invoices, for example, out on the website because that's too much information.
The reason I brought up the $10,000 and above or whatever marker we make, I think it's for me, like I read through the finance, like every line item, but I don't know if every council member does, but I could imagine them scanning the $10,000 and above report, which would encapsulate a lot of those things that would have come in front of the council as resolutions in the past. So I think that could be a useful report. I know that has the annoying side effect of needing to read that out every time. But I do think it could be functional. I'm curious what the two of you think about that.
I like that. I mean, Misty has indicated that it's a burden on staff, but if we wanted to bring it back for at least some period of time while we're getting used to the new purchasing limits, at least the pain would be temporary.
Yeah, I mean, I feel the same way in that we are going to look at the items because we're the finance committee, but for the rest of council, it might help with just kind of understanding the larger purchases that aren't coming as resolutions, but are there as amounts. I don't know how much time that takes to bring back versus how much you're saving not having to do the additional resolutions, like what kind of how you feel about it, thoughts? Yeah.
So finance department doesn't do a lot of pre-approvals ourselves. So the savings from not doing the agenda items and all that is more so on departments, which is fantastic. I'm still glad that we're making that change. The one way that we could kind of cut the burden is maybe you do only once a month instead. It's like whatever was checks cut for such and such dollar amount during 1 month, we report out the following month. So it's not every meeting. It would at least cut the number of reports down a little bit, could be an option. The only thing to keep in mind is that this, though, is after the checks are already cut, so you wouldn't necessarily know about it ahead of time. And then it is based on dollar amount of the check. So if it was a $25,000 thing that previously went to council, but it's split into five $5,000 checks, it wouldn't show up on this report when it may have gone to council for pre-approval in the past. So I'm not trying to discourage you one way or another. I just want to make sure we all know kind of what the flaws are in each one of the reports.
I think I asked this long ago, but I'll ask it again. Is there any way to get the check and P-card information in spreadsheet form so we could filter it however we want?
So the P-card information is already in spreadsheet form. I think the better...
Well, I mean, we can't take it out of the agenda and easily put it into a spreadsheet. That's what I'm talking about. So we can just click on a column header and say, show me everything over $10,000.
Right. So we can do that as staff, but it's not a spreadsheet that I would necessarily want to share out in the world. I think the more long-term option would be at some point, do we do transparency software where people can kind of drill down into things? That's kind of a third phase as we go through things. Again, we'll do whatever you ask us to do, though. So if you guys are interested in a spreadsheet every time, I'd hate for us to generate a spreadsheet, though, if you're not actually using it, right? So it's cost benefit there, too.
Well, and it would be helpful, I think, so we could, sort it based on merchant, and sort it based on dollar amount, slice it and dice it, because just having a list of, seemingly random purchases and looking it over, it's hard to notice any anomalies. Whereas if we had, the raw data to play with, and it's however we want, if it's CSV data, whatever, we could put it in a spreadsheet, we could put it in a database, run queries against it, that kind of thing.
And if you're going to use it, happy to provide it, right? So we are open records at the same time, so can give you whatever information you want. Again, I just hate to provide information if it's not going to actually be used.
Yeah. I guess I can personally say that I would use it. I don't know how big a burden it would be on your part, though.
I have one question about the P-card transactions. So the description field and the report is really long, but it seems like the descriptions get cut off after however many characters. Is it possible to get the full description included in there?
Yeah, so part of that is because that's what we import into the accounting software, which has a limited number of characters. We need to show the merchant and the description. It's all entered as journal entry instead.
The other thing that might be helpful is, so if that's the amount of space there, if there's additional space, we could kind of shrink that field. Would it be possible to include the account name? Or like, because the account number, I unfortunately don't have them all memorized.
Yeah. So this is just an Excel version of the information that's dumped out of OnBase. So it's spread out like that. I had gotten feedback from Finance Committee many moons ago that they wanted more white space on the page, which is why we kind of expanded it like that. But it is limited to a number of fields, characters. So we couldn't necessarily do that. Adding the account number is not a problem. That's really easy to do. We can pull it out of the software. The only flaw with that, though, is the account numbers are not especially descriptive either. It's like it'll say office supplies, regardless if it's police office supplies or fire office supplies or finance office supplies.
What if it was, can you pull the department? The department was really what I would.
Not easily.
That's not easily? Okay.
So the better option would be, I need to rewrite my entire chart of accounts, right? Like it's a project that's been on my list for a long time, but hasn't risen to the priority yet.
Okay, all right. Yeah, because
I
Give
could
her a
include
nudge,
like a key though at the front. It's the middle 4 digits is what each division is.
That's
I
the
could
division.
include kind of a legend of sorts that shows what all of those are. And again, the long-term answer is that transparency software, right? We're
Right,
just not there yet.
Well, I mean, I think the pre-approval thing would be helpful to start as well, just as maybe we won't use it, but if we had it, then it's probably good to make that available, I think.
Yeah, I was going to say maybe since next meeting is the first of the month, could we look at a $10,000 and above report and a open pre-approval report for the previous month, perhaps, and take a look at it, and maybe we add a discussion item again in case we want to talk about whether or not we want to keep seeing that, if that works moving forward.
I like that, and then it'll be fresh in Misty's mind too as to how much labor went into preparing that.
Yeah. All right.
Yep, no problem at all. And so we're talking for the month of April, we would show the first meeting in May. So it's a month worth of reports, correct?
That works.
If
That works for
you've
you.
got if
I
you've got
think
the
that's a
month
little
closed.
easier. Yep, so that it's once a month that we're reporting this out as opposed to every meeting.
Okay.
I think that helps. Okay. Very good. That's what we'll do. Moving on. Also included in the packet is the February Treasurer's Report. The big thing happening at this point is we had, so we collected all of the, not all, but 70% of the property taxes we collected through January 31st or a couple days after. And then February 20th was when we shared all of the money that we collected with all of the overlying jurisdictions. So you'll see a lot of money kind of going out. That's as we did the settlement with all of them. So I'll pause if there's questions there.
Yeah, so I noticed big increases in a couple of accounts, refuse and recycling, 1.2 million, library fund, 1.5, debt service jumped up. I presume these are like disbursements from property taxes into these accounts?
Yep, they're all part of tax settlement. So the refuse is funded by that special charge. So the first settlement, I settle with all the other special charges, and then I settle refuse with whatever is left going forward. And then library is a component of our levy, so they get, and debt service as well, so they get a proportional share of the amount of the city's portion that we collect. So you should see increase in general fund, debt service, transit, library, and something else. Capital Projects Fund.
Okay. And then, so I noticed salaries and wages for the city looks like it's already at 37% for the year after just 2 months. Why is that?
So I know, I'd have to look into the specifics, but I'll say I know there's at least the fire department overtime that is running pretty high as of right now. Other salaries too might depend on kind of the timing of the paychecks, could be part of it. But I'd have to look more specifically.
Okay. And then like building permit and inspection fees and zoning permits and fees already hit budget for the year after 2 months?
Yep. So a lot of the permits come in at the beginning of the year as the construction
Kinda
companies and the
seasonal.
projects move forward. And then we do budget conservatively there. Right now, we are very lucky that our construction activity continues to be high, but it's not something that we want to rely on to fund our ongoing operations. So we use a kind of baseline that we can assume will happen in most years when we budget. And then any amount that's in excess of budget goes into fund balance, and then we've been using that fund balance to fund our capital projects in the long term.
Okay. And then there was a small amount budgeted for finance department overtime, and it looks like we went over that already. What's going on there?
Yeah, so that's that payroll project that we're working on. So my team is putting in a lot more overtime than I expected, and I need to do a budget amendment. Chad, you'll get that soon, to request for more hours. Yeah, really grateful. Yes, it's a cost, but the team is really putting a lot of heart and soul into this project to make sure it's going well. So really, really grateful for them.
Okay.
Anything?
So then, other than that, the other big news is the audit report. So we have that draft. We're kind of working through finalization there. That's still scheduled to come to Finance Committee and Audit Committee, the first meeting in June. And then CIP, we had meetings with the mayor last week, and we have more meetings this week in order to present the requests to the mayor. And then from there, we'll have discussions about priorities and what changes may need to be made in order to get a plan that at least more or less balances. The mayor's proposed CIP will come out to the council and to the public. I believe it's in early June. That's it.
That's it? Okay. All right. We will move on to the review of bills. First item is detailed review of all checks issued. Checks 130439 through 130540, April 1st to the 15th, 2026, totaling $1,034,640.96. Any comments or questions?
One, on page 49 of the packet, page 2 of the report, the AED box install in McKee and McGaw. Does that mean that our AEDs are up and running in the parks?
I don't know if they have fully been installed, but I know we are in process there. Yeah.
So you'll let us know
I will let you know.
when it's.
I'll check in on that right now, actually.
Okay, awesome. Thanks.
There's a couple of H&I grants for 2025 that were paid on April 2nd. Is that normal?
It is. So it was a grant, or a couple of grants that were awarded in the year before. A lot of the times they'll have done the work the year before too, but the reporting just takes a little bit longer. And so we give them some flexibility there as appropriate to get the reporting done and then cut the check. So it's ultimately staff's time reviewing all of that reporting that is causing the delay.
All right, next is the review of P-card transactions for the cycle ending March 6, 2026, totaling $180,040.49. Comments or questions?
One question. There's a series of charges to the Kalahari Resort. And the description is just hotel. Is that a conference or?
That's my guess. Could you share which page you're on?
There's one on page 3 of that report, but there are more.
Okay. There are a lot of conferences that tend to happen at Kalahari. I can say I know I go to at least one a year that's at the Kalahari, so that would be my guess that that's what it is. But let's look at this one.
Yeah, the rest of them are, page 9 has most of them. Because most of the ones with our hotels, they usually say who and if it's a conference or not, but that one just said hotel.
Page 9. So that is all police department. And it is training and travel. So my guess is that it's a conference for the police department.
Okay.
Typically, the Wisconsin Chiefs of Police Association has hosted their conference there.
Okay, great. Just wanted to make sure.
Yep.
Thanks.
Okay, moving on to action items. First item is ordinance 2026-0-11, amending purchasing and public works contracts processes by amending Chapter 10, Sections 10-309, 10-311, and 10-431A of the Fitchburg Code of Ordinances.
I move approval.
Motion approved by Alder Jetzer.
So ideally, this would have been packaged with our last batch of ordinance changes. However, the statute change, the state law change happened the Friday before Board of Public Works, and I didn't feel comfortable kind of putting this thing into it after Board of Public Works had already reviewed that last batch, so I split it out to do two separate ones. Ultimately, what this is there was a statute change that split out public construction, so there is now highway public construction and general public construction. Under state law, anything that's highway public construction stays under the same thresholds for purchasing as what it is currently. But things that are general public construction, the public notification requirement was increased from 5,000 to 10,000, and the public bidding threshold was increased from 25,000 to 50,000. So this ordinance change primarily aligns our ordinances to that what's now allowed under state statute. And then we did take it one step further for our non-public construction purchases. We increased that threshold also from 25,000 to 50,000 to be consistent with the general public construction purchasing processes.
Comments or questions? All right, all those in favor of ordinance 2026-0-11, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next item is Resolution R8226, Agreement to become a member of TIPS, the Interlocal Purchasing System.
I move approval.
Motion to approve by Alder Jetzer.
So this is another cooperative purchasing option, but in order to participate in the program, we need to have a resolution adopted by council that authorizes staff to use it. So it's similar to the Sourcewell contracts and some of those other cooperative purchasing arrangements that the city participates in. I believe this one's out of Texas. And there is a particular purchase that was being discussed and kind of pointed us to this contract because it was a better pricing than what we could get from other options.
Do we know at this point whether this will be a useful membership in the future as well?
So it's free, so it doesn't hurt anything to be a member. I think this one purchase that we're planning to make will make it worth it right there. And then just having as many options, because then staff can go out and kind of compare our cooperative purchasing arrangements too and still try to get the best value for the taxpayers.
Other questions?
Is there a reason we weren't a member before? We just weren't aware of it, or?
Yeah, just weren't aware of it. So Sourcewell is one that's very common. There's another one that's on the tip of my tongue that I can't think of that's more common too. And this was just a new one to us.
Great.
Well, and I'd be surprised if we were members when the guys running this are the Region 8 Education Service Center in Texas.
We probably rely on the vendors to point out where they have cooperative purchasing agreements, because there could be multiples across local government units, school districts, universities. So, yeah, we rely on them, I think, quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
All right, if we're good with that, I will, all those in favor of R8226, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Next is Resolution R8526, approving copier lease contract for Fire Station 3.
I will move approval.
Motion to approve by Alder Jetzer.
I'll cover this one.
Taking this
So
one.
the copier lease at Fire Station number 3 has expired. So what you have before us is a new lease with Rhyme. And any questions on that?
I just wanted to point out that the resolution itself is off by a factor of 100 on the per imprint pricing. It's listed as 0.0039 cents rather than dollars and 0.035 cents rather than dollars.
Would Finance Committee like to amend that?
Do we need a formal amendment, or can we call that a friendly amendment?
You're not amending your motion, you're amending the resolution, so I think it needs to be
Okay.
a formal amendment.
All right, I will move that we amend the resolution with the correct units of measure.
Second. Oh, I don't need a second.
Okay, all in favor of the amendment, say aye.
Aye.
All right, the amendment carries. Any other comments or questions on the resolution? Actually, I have one. Is this the same contract we've been signing with every other copier lease. It's just a similar.
Yeah, all of our copier leases have been transitioning to Rhyme over the last few years as terms have come up. We found them to be responsive to the city's copying needs and sizing our machines to what our needs are, and that has also led to notably reduced costs as well.
Okay. All those in favor of R8526, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next is Resolution R8726, approving an amendment to the professional services contract for plan review and amending the 2026 building inspection fee schedule for commercial plan review and plumbing plan review.
I move approval.
Motion to approve by Alder Jetzer. Who is taking this one?
I got this one as well. So we have been contracting with a company called E-Plan Exam for commercial building plan and plumbing plan reviews. In the past, this city utilized the state of Wisconsin for this service, and we were finding that those reviews were taking multiple months. This company does provide this service, and our contract with them states that they'll complete the reviews within 15 business days. And we also get 10% of the revenue that is collected associated with the fee for the review. When the state was doing this for us, we did not collect any of the revenue the state was charging for plan review. E-Plan contacted us and indicated that their fee schedule was changing. They wanted to update the contract that we have with them to reflect their fee changes. Obviously, the Common Council typically approves the fee schedule in the operating budget process. Unfortunately, this is not timing out in the way we would wish it is timing out, or we'd like it to time out associated with the operating budget process. So you have in front of you the updated fee schedule that was sent to us from E-Plan, and then our city fee schedule would correspond with that.
Comments or questions?
Do we expect a lot of pushback from people coming before plan?
No, we do not anticipate. We did do a little bit of research into the fees, and this is aligned with what E-Plan is charging across the board. They're doing this service now for quite a few municipalities. I think it's north of 20 or 25 at this point. And it does, it's relatively consistent with what the state charges as well.
Okay.
All right, no other questions. All those in favor of Resolution R8726, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next is Resolution R8826, approving Contract Amendment 3 for Fitchburg Road Engineering Services Agreement.
I move approval.
Motion to approve by Alder Jetzer. Is Tim taking this one?
Yes, I can take this one. Fitchburg Road is being reconstructed to an urban section to replace deteriorating pavement, increase capacity, and improve safety. Resolutions R-26-23, R-19-24, and R-16325 have previously approved and amended the engineering services contract with AECom for a total of $563,370. Additional drainage modifications, utility coordination, survey, monumentation, storm sewer modifications, and meetings were necessary to complete the design. Additional funds in the amount of $48,690 are necessary to cover the remaining costs of these additional engineering services and are already available in the CIP project fund. And we're looking for council to approve Contract Amendment 3 to the Fitchburg Road Engineering Services Agreement with AECom.
All right, comments or questions?
Is this the total design cost increase and then the new total, which was really helpful that you provided both of those numbers, and the fact that it's still within the reasonable percentage. But is that the total cost for the project, or is that Fitchburg's contribution? Because I know that we are splitting some of this cost with Town of Verona.
Yeah, so Some of these, that's the total cost for engineering is the $585,060, and then the town of Verona previously provided funding. I believe it was only 7%, but these amendments, we're also going to talk to them about it once we enter into the agreement for construction as part of those discussions.
Okay, so it'll be part of that at this point. This is Fitchburg's contribution. Thank you.
Yes.
All right, no further questions. Do you have a question, Bill?
Nope.
All right, all those in favor of resolution R8826, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next is resolution R9326, authorizing acceptance of the police storage building re-roof and gutter replacement bid. Can I get
I will move approval.
motion approved by Alder Jetzer? Tim, are you taking this one too?
Yes, sir. The Fitchburg Capital Improvement Plan included funding for the maintenance and repairs to the police storage building. Plans and specifications for the project were prepared by Jewel Associates Incorporated. Bid plans and specs were placed on questcdn.com and in the Wisconsin State Journal on March 19th and March 26th, 2026. 2 electronic bids were received on April 2nd, 2026 and opened with the results listed in the attached bid tab. Premier Roofing Design Incorporated, doing business as Top Roofing, was found to have submitted the lowest responsive bid in compliance with the specifications in the amount of $68,100. So we're looking for council to approve the bid to Top Roofing in the amount of $71,505, and that includes a 5% contingency for construction.
Thanks. Any comments or questions?
So given the severe weather that we've had recently and, increased winds, hail, is this roof prepared for that type? I know that there's such a thing as a fortified roof certification. And I'm curious if this roof is going to be resilient to those types of weather impacts.
Yeah, it's a EPDM roof, so it's able to absorb, hits from hail a lot better than a metal or a shingle roof. So it's actually advantageous in this situation.
Does it have I've learned a lot about fortified roofs recently, which is why I'm asking. There's like additional nail patterns and types of plastic sheeting on the outside that can prevent water intrusion in the case of severe wind. Does this roof have those aspects as well, or is that something that we can look into and make a request? Because my understanding is that the total cost of fortifying a roof is typically pretty low, and it can obviously save a lot of money if there is a severe weather event.
Yeah, I can follow up to see if the fortification of the roof was in the specifications, and if not, what that would entail.
Yeah, for like a single family home roof, it's sometimes like a difference of like $1,000 of material, sometimes even less, to be the difference between a roof blowing off in a severe, like a microburst, and being completely fine and not needing any repair. So it's and we should be thinking about that, I think, anytime we put on a new roof at any building, how we're fortifying it, because I don't think it's going to get better.
I was looking at the CIP project for this, and there's a note in there about replacing the roof on this building in 2016. Did that happen? Did we replace this 10 years ago?
No, we did not.
City.
So we're doing this now. That's that comment in there. Okay. And I guess my other question is, do we do replacement funds? Do we include roofs in the replacement funds for these buildings as well? Or because when I look at like the CIP project, it's just the equipment inside. Are we kind of doing that as well?
Tim, do you remember if roofs are on the inventory? I don't recall.
No, the roofs are not on the inventory. I think kind of the approach we took most instances, if we replace a roof on City Hall or, say the library, it's part of a bigger remodel project, hence why we don't list it individually. But since this is kind of a smaller, metal shed type building, this is why it was listed individually.
Okay. All right, if we have no other questions, all those in favor of resolution R9326, say aye.
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 Motion carries. Next is resolution R9426, acceptance of the 2026 Belmar and Tower Hill utility improvements bid.
I move approval.
Motion approved by Alder Jetser. Tim?
The 2026 Belmar and Tower Hill Utility Improvements Project generally includes upsizing of existing storm sewer and inlet structures on Crescent Road and installation of water main, valve services, and hydrants across various streets in the Belmar and Tower Hill neighborhoods. Public Works Department has prepared construction plans and specs and obtained competitive bids. On April 6th, 2026, we received 2 sealed bids that were publicly open with results listed in the attached bid tab. Speedway Sand and Gravel Incorporated provided the lowest bid in the amount of $2,447,872.17. The bid was found to be in compliance with the bid specs. In addition to the base bid, it's recommended to accept the mandatory alternate bid, which is the Tower E bulk fill station, in the amount of $35,939, and to remove the Aztec Trail water main work, which is a reduction of $291,566.88 from the base bid, and to include a contingency in the amount of $129,489.95 for a total project cost of $2.3 million. So we're looking for council to approve the award of the 2026 Belmar and Tower Hill Utility Improvements Project to Speedway Sand and Gravel in the amount of $2,321,734.24. And then also for council to amend the 2026 Water Utility Fund to redirect $93,000 in the main oversized service insulate and hydrant repair project to the Tower Hill water main replacement project.
Okay, comments or questions? No?
Tim, you mentioned at the Board of Public Works meeting that part of the funding for this is coming from a grant that we received in 2022. Do you want to?
Yes, so this was part of the Tammy Baldwin money the city had received back in 2022, and $315,304 would be covered by the grant for this project. And that's covers the stormwater improvements along Crescent.
Are we, I assume we're removing the Aztec Trail because this came in over our estimate, is that correct?
Correct. So on the water side of this project, we were a little over budget. So we decided to remove Aztec Trail because that was the one street that it had a couple breaks, but not as many as the others. So we feel comfortable that it could last another 30 years till we resurface this road again.
Okay, that was my next question was, is this going to affect like any other downstream projects like road resurfacing or anything? But we can redo the road and we think we'll be good till next time. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right, seeing no other questions, all those in favor of resolution R9426, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next is resolution R9526 to approve the 2026 funding awards for the Healthy Neighborhoods Grant Program.
I move approval.
Motion approved by Alder Jetser. Who is taking this one?
Do you want to take this one?
Sure, I can take this one. As you all know, the City Council has authorized funding for Healthy Neighborhoods Grant Program. The city staff and the Healthy Neighborhoods Committee have reviewed the applications. You have those applications before you that are being recommended by both the committee and city staff listed specifically. The River Food Pantry at $25,000, Allied Food Pantry at $20,000, Rooted Wisconsin at $20,000, Active Youth Wisconsin at $20,000, Badger Prairie Needs Network at $15,000, Boys and Girls Club of Dane County at $10,000, Bikes for Kids Wisconsin at $10,000, and Reach Dane at $4,000. There were a total of 17 applications that were submitted in this grant program, requesting a total of $328,000 in funding. And the grant program had $128,000 in funding this year.
All right, any comments or questions? Okay, all those in favor of resolution R9526, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next is resolution R9626, approving the increase of municipal court fee from $38 to $48.
I move approval.
Motion approved by Alder Jetzer.
I've got this one as well. Recent legislation at the state level that was signed into law by Governor U-verse at the end of March allowed municipal courts to increase the municipal court fee, which is added to every forfeiture citation, with the exception of parking citations, by $10. So the maximum amount is changing from $38 to $48 under this legislation. The city currently has its municipal court fee set at $38. That amount has not been changed since January of 2014. The municipal judge approved increasing the municipal court fee from $38 to $48 on all municipal citations, with the exception of the aforementioned parking citations. And then the proposed fee, as it would now apply, is included as a supporting document. And we would be looking through this resolution to increase our municipal court fee from $38 to $48.
Okay, any comments or questions?
Just wanted to let everybody know I plugged $38 in 2014 into an inflation calculator, and it told me that today that would be equivalent to $53. So we're increasing to something less than what it felt like in 2014.
It is good to point out, I think Misty mentioned earlier today in a meeting that the state did include legislation, or in this legislation, the ability to modify it by an inflationary factor every 5 years moving forward. So hopefully we'll be better equipped now through this legislation to address those inflationary changes.
I have one quick question from, and you might not know this, from the fee schedule. What is an annual tax on dogs?
I don't know without looking at it. We do license kennels here in the city, and there are a couple of them. So I don't know if perhaps it is relating to that process. If you'd like, I can certainly take a look at that in more detail.
That's more curiosity than
Okay.
anything. I just make sure my dog doesn't have to pay anything.
You just fall under the regular pet license there.
Okay.
So yeah, that's not what that's relating to.
Has your dog filed this year?
That's a good question. Okay, no other questions. All those in favor of resolution R9626, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next is resolution R9826, amending the 2026 Technology Fund Budget, State and Local Cybersecurity Grant Program, SLCGP.
I move approval.
Motion approved by Alder Jetzer.
I've got this one. The city's IT department was awarded grant funds through Wisconsin Emergency Management State and Local Cybersecurity Grant Program. We'd like to utilize these funds to purchase cybersecurity solutions such as multi-factor authentication solution for police squad cars. We do need a budget amendment to reflect the grant revenue and there's corresponding purchases associated with that.
Okay, comments or questions? Bill?
I noticed the dollar is $55,000 plus for equipment. Do we know what kind of equipment that is? I'm wondering, are the officers going to carry on a little fob with a secret number on it? Is that part of the deal?
The solution is still being identified. I'm informed that one of the challenges that we have is our records management system vendor in the police department is also requiring multi-factor authentication. And our IT department is currently exploring the most cost-effective solutions, which One of them is to issue a token to all police employees that have access to that data as one possible solution to the multi-factor authentication requirement. But it is still being researched by our IT department to find, again, the most cost-effective solution there.
Okay, I mean, it specifically said equipment, and I didn't think software counted as equipment, so I was wondering what that was about.
I don't know if that's for the token purchase as part of the equipment associated with it. More to come.
Okay.
Is there a local match associated with this grant, or is this completely cover the
think there was.
costs?
It was 100% covered by the grant.
Great.
Okay, if there's no further questions, all those in favor of resolution R9826, say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. Next is announcements. Our next finance meeting will be May 12th, 2026. Any other announcements? All right, I will take a motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn.
All those in favor of adjournment, say aye.
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 Aye. We are adjourned at 6:17.